Okay, so we're doing kinds of sentences, and there are four main types of sentences that we use. A sentence, remember, is just a group of words that expresses a complete thought. The four types of sentences we have are declarative, interrogative, and imperative and exclamatory. Our objectives for this is we're going to know how to punctuate these sentences, we're going to know how to correct capitalization, and we're going to know four different types of sentences that we can write. Okay, the first type of sentence that we're going to do is a declarative sentence. Now, a declarative sentence has two rules that it follows. It needs to make a statement, and a declarative sentence always ends with a period. That right there is a period. An example of a declarative sentence would be, we watched a video, period. So, once again, you can see my period. So this ends with a period. And what it's doing is it's making a statement. It's telling me something that happened. We watched a video. That happened. Alright? Notice also it starts here with a capital letter. All sentences need to start with a capital letter. That is a declarative sentence. The next type of sentence we're going to do is an interrogative sentence. Now, an interrogative sentence also has two rules that make it an interrogative sentence. It needs to ask a question, and it needs to always, it ends with a question mark. That right there is a question mark in case you were not clear what a question mark is. Okay, an example of an interrogative sentence would be, have you ever seen a video? Question mark right there at the end. Now, this is an interrogative sentence. For those of you that are like, wait a minute, interrogative sounds like another word that I've kind of heard before. You are totally correct. Interrogative comes from the same word as interview. And we know in an interview, what do people do? They ask a lot of questions. So an interrogative sentence is a sentence that asks questions. The third type of sentence that we're going to do is an imperative sentence. And an imperative sentence has two rules that it follows, things you can look for that make it an imperative sentence. These are, it gives a command, so it tells something to do something. And it also ends with a period, just like our declarative sentence. The main difference here is the gives a command. It is telling someone or something to do something. Okay? So an example of a declarative sentence could be, go get your books. Period. Go get your books. Whoever is saying that is telling you to go get your books. That is what makes an imperative sentence. Gives a command. The final type of sentence that we're going to go over is an exclamatory sentence. An exclamatory sentence also has two things that tell you that it is an exclamatory sentence. Two things to look for. An exclamatory sentence has to do two things. It has to show strong feelings. Passion is the key word. You want to have passion for something when you're using an exclamation point. Also, it needs to end with an exclamation point. That's the big, giant tell. If the sentence ends with an exclamation point, it is an exclamatory sentence. Okay? So an example of that would be, I love sloths. So notice a couple things. One, I started with a capital. I don't capitalize the entire sentence, even though I'm showing passion. I don't need to capitalize every letter. And I end with an exclamation point. And I'm showing passion. I'm showing strong feelings because I'm using the word love. This is an exclamatory sentence. Those are the 4 different types of sentences, and a couple things to remember. Every sentence begins with a capital. We have to start with a capital letter. And every sentence ends with punctuation. Now that punctuation that it ends with, that depends on what type of sentence you are doing. So if you remember those 2 main rules, and if you just simply slow down and remember you're doing fine, you're going to master this.